We want to get stuff done. We want to make life better for the American people. But I'm trying to figure out what leverage we actually have. What leverage do we have? Republicans have repeatedly lectured America. They control the House, the Senate, and the presidency. It's their government. What leverage do we have?
The fearless opposition party, ladies and gentlemen. Give them a round of applause. Give them a round of applause. There's nothing we can do. What do you want us to do? I'm gonna stand here as the House minority leader and complain about how we don't have any leverage when I could be messaging about how there's a robbery going on right now as we speak. The dismantling of the government agencies seeking to return money to Americans who are defrauded by the big banks. Can you maybe muster up enough energy to give a speech about that? House minority leader.
Yeah.
Hakeem Jeffries. God, the Democrats are so pathetic. They're so pathetic because if you don't agree with what the Trump administration is up to, if you don't identify as a Republican, if you didn't want to vote for Donald Trump, what other option do you have? Okay? The party that tried to run a decomposing corpse, and then when he got caught, they anointed the Democratic nominee. The party that keeps telling you that there's nothing they can do, whether they're in power or out of power.
Yeah, I mean,
come on.
So, guys, you've literally heard me sometimes sing this line. There's nothing we could do. There's nothing we can do. That's the Democratic mantra, and that they say that when they get in power. They're like, oh, the filibuster, the parliamentarian, skittle boo. You're like, that's not even a word. It doesn't matter. There's nothing we could do. There's nothing we could do.
So pathetic.
And now that they're in the minority, here comes Hakeem Jeffries to sing the same song. There's nothing we could do. Then what? You know what? The American people believed you. You kept telling them that you can't do anything, so they voted you out of power because you can't do anything. Why don't you man up and grow a spine and a brain and actually figure out a strategy? That moron just said, well, and the Republicans have the House and the Senate and the White House, and the Republicans message to the American people. Wait, why don't you message to the American people? You're doing a press conference right there, schmuck. Why don't you get out your message? I didn't think about that. Look, I need you to understand, these Democratic leadership, mainstream media told you your whole life about how venerate, they're amazing people. They literally said when we were criticizing Barack Obama from the left, you don't understand, he's doing 4-dimensional chess. He 4-dimensional chess to no change at all other than Obamacare, okay? He 4D chess all the way to a giant bank bailout that made the Democratic Party deeply unpopular and lost 1,000 seats. And here comes Hakeem Jeffries to go, there's nothing I can do. They're dumb.
They're
right, and they're
incompetent.
Incompetent,
feckless.
Total losers.
Yep, 100%. This is it. This is the opposition party. So look, his explanation for why Democrats can't deliver for Americans right now is that Republicans just never let them get anything done. Right? That's the role of your opposition party, Hakeem Jeffries. But isn't it amazing that when Republicans want something, they usually find a way to get what they want? Anyway, he doubled down later in the same press conference. Let's hear what the House minority leader has to say.
We've made clear from the beginning, there's a season to govern and a season to campaign. We are in the governing season. And so we're ready to work together on any issue. But I'm also confused about the leverage that we allegedly have in the face of such an overwhelming mandate that was given to Republicans by the American people, according to them.
Listen, no one is stupid enough to think that Democrats have a modicum of power right now. They don't. They have no power right now. We all understand that. But how about take a look at the behavior of Republicans when they are not in power? You wanna know what they do? They don't shut up, okay? They're doing press conferences, they're doing congressional hearings, they're repetitive. Again and again, I mean the Hillary Benghazi thing. Every single day, Hillary Benghazi, Hillary Benghazi, Hillary Benghazi. Democrats though, they cower. And then they tell their own supporters, shut up, there's nothing we can do because we don't have enough power. And then what they'll say is, we need to have control of Congress. And then everyone will get out the vote, they'll organize, they'll canvass, they'll fight real hard to ensure Democrats have the majority in Congress in both the lower chamber, Senate, and guess what they do with that power? Nothing. That's what Biden had. And then it was excuse after excuse after excuse for why they can't get their own agenda accomplished, even when they had control of the executive branch and they had control of Congress. But don't worry, don't fret, because there's another Democratic leader who's gonna fight for us, and she's gonna explain how in this next clip.
My whole passion about being in politics is for the children. So what is it that we're doing for the children? I think that it would have been important for the children to not have Donald Trump be president of the United States. And that is, I would take every step necessary to make sure that didn't happen, but it did. And now we have to deal with it. And in about 6 or 7 months, you're going to see such a change. By the time we start our campaigns in this fall, for next fall, you're going to see a very different picture about the Democrats vis-a-vis Donald Trump.
Retire. She's sitting there and talking about, like, don't worry, in 6 months, we might start fighting back. Like,
I want to explain why she says 6 to 7 months. First, let me go through all this, and we're going to be constructive. I'm going to tell you what they actually should do, okay? Because I think we're the only show that ever does that, right? So first of all, on Hakeem Jeffries, he says, well, there's nothing we do in the minority. But wait a minute, when you were in the majority and Biden had the House, the Senate, and the White House, you also said there was nothing you could do. Why? Because the GOP was blocking all your bills, even though they were in the minority because of the filibuster. So why don't you do the same thing? And then there would be something you could do. Why don't you just do exactly what the Republicans did to you that you complained about when Biden was in charge? Did that not occur to you? Because when you were in charge, you couldn't stop talking about the filibuster and the parliamentarian. Now, all of a sudden, you can't find the parliamentarian. What's a filibuster? I mean, at a bare minimum, can't you do that? For him to pretend that he has no leverage at all, it's unbelievable. Now, Nancy Pelosi, I mean, look at how pathetic this is. You know, the thing that I care about is the children. What is this? What is this? I mean, this is elementary level politics.
Yep.
Children, how? In what context? What are you talking about? And what is the most important thing for the children, according to her? That Donald Trump not win. In other words, that the Democrats win. Yeah, I was talking to a kid the other day. He's like, man, if more Democrats won, I'd be so happy. Okay, I mean, this is just like such infantile way of trying to manipulate people. If you care about your kids, you vote Democrat. So why does 6 to 7 months from now? Because as she said, that's when our campaign's gonna start. They're not gonna fight back when you're in trouble. They're not fighting back right now when the Trump team is saying we're not listening to the courts. That's the giant, unbelievable constitutional crisis, right? No, they're gonna wait until their self-interest is affected. 6 to 7 months from now, when their campaigns start. And look at the speed. Biden gets in, Trump, boom, 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 doing 1,000 actions. Steve Bannon is laughing his ass off today, talking about, yeah, we flooded the zone. And we're stunned at how little the Democrats did in return. It looks like they had 3 months to prepare and didn't prepare a single thing. He's rubbing our face in it. And he's right about it.
He's right, he's totally right.
And so, I mean, God, they're so pathetic, they can't plan anything.
No, they have something up their sleeve though. Let's be fair. Let's be fair to the Democrats because they do have something up their sleeve. I wrote about this over the weekend. They're relying on a super PAC that's funded by the good billionaires. Don't worry, it's not the bad billionaires, according to Democrats, the good billionaires, who are going to help them connect with the working class. So the New York Times wrote about this as well. They write that the Win Them Back Fund will begin by spending extensively on research before eventually mounting advertising campaigns in key districts, as well as potentially investing in influencers to spread the party's message to less engaged voters. So how is this different from their campaign strategy, which failed miserably? And why do you need to do extensive research that's funded by billionaires to understand working class voters and how to appeal to them?
And I mean, come on, guys. Think about how hilarious that is. We're gonna ask the billionaires how much we can help the middle class, and they'll come up with a genius strategy. Now, I know that the billionaires are funding the pollsters, the consultants, etc. But do you see what they're doing? They have no actual ideology. They're going to do focus groups to figure out what would resonate Now, to actually do those things, if the focus group comes back and says, yeah, do $15 minimum wage like we told you, do paid family leave like we told you 100 times, right? Are they going to actually do those things? No, the focus group and the study funded by the billionaires is so they can tell you what they're gonna pretend to do, and then when they get into office, they'll say there was nothing we could do, okay? So that's why we need a strong Democratic Party so desperately right now. And they're still doing the same game.
No, it's the same game. The Democrats, the issue with the Democrats in this last election cycle wasn't the lack of money, and it wasn't the lack of advertising either. In fact, I mean, you just look at this. This is a graph put together by the New York Times. It shows the difference between Kamala Harris's fundraising versus Donald Trump's fundraising. Believe it or not, Kamala Harris raised a lot more money than Donald Trump did, okay?
That could have paid for a lot of focus groups to figure out what the hell to run on.
That's what we need, more focus groups. That'll save America. Okay, so, but let's take a look at the super PAC that is going to help the Democrats understand the working class a little bit better. So the super PAC's name is
funny every time.
House Majority PAC is the name of the super PAC. They're the ones who are putting $50 million aside in order to do this whole win them back fund. And win them back means win back the working class. Who funds this super PAC? Let's take a look at the list of people. The top donor is Michael Bloomberg to the tune of $13 million. And this is just in the last election cycle in 2023 through 2024.
If anyone knows how to win back the middle class, it's Michael frickin' Bloomberg.
Yeah, there's more. Tom Steyer donated $2 million to it. Real estate developer John Fish. So I looked through all the documents to see he donated multiple times and it all amounted to $2.27 million. He's known for fighting against progressive tax policies in his state, Massachusetts, I believe. So yeah, he would really know a lot about connecting with the working class. LinkedIn co-founder Reid Hoffman, $1.5 million. But look at all the Bain Capital executives. Bain Capital, a private equity firm, really concerned about appealing to the working class.
Do you think that that group might come up with a policy that says, hey, you know what? It turns out private equity buying up all the residential homes is super unpopular. If you fight back against that, the American people will love it. They're funded by Bain. That's a private equity company. They're not going to come up with that conclusion. Yeah. They're going to come up with smokes and mirrors like the Democrats always do.
And I'm going to end on this. So one of the people who kind of participated in this meeting that Hakeem Jeffries had with 150 Silicon Valley-based donors in California to mend fences was the gentleman I'm about to read a comment from or a message from. So he says that the singular focus of that meeting was how do we ensure Silicon Valley remains with Democrats, because right now Silicon Valley is feeling very purple. Because that's the main concern of the Democratic Party. It's not really about appealing to working class voters. It's about ensuring that they don't lose their precious, precious Silicon Valley donors, some of whom have already defected and support Trump. Alex Hoffman, a Democratic donor advisor who works with donors across the country, made this incredible statement. There is a significant fear that these tech folks who have been with us for a long time will say, F it, we're going with the other guys. These donors are also pissed watching former and current colleagues have unlimited, unchecked power and getting richer off of this, and they're not. Meaning the Silicon Valley executives who supported Trump, they're getting everything they want. And the ones who decided to stick with Democrats aren't, and they're very jealous.
Guys, that last quote was devastating. Because the last part's the worst part. If they had just left it at, they're very frustrated because all these guys who gave to Donald Trump are getting everything they want. Okay, that sounds fair. But they gratuitously added, but we're not. We wanted all the goodies. And now it turns out backing Trump would have gotten us the goodies. You guys didn't deliver enough for our bribes. I mean, campaign contributions. And that's why we're gonna give you more so that you can come up with a new strategy to trick people into supporting private equity. I mean, connect with the working class. Okay, so now let's be constructive, because if all we do is tear down these Democrats, then what hope do we have? Okay, so that's why I try to help build a different portion of the Democratic Party, just Democrats, etc. That had its upsides, it's had its downsides. But at some point, somebody's got to do this, okay? So first off, you need leadership. I don't care if you're an actual leader, Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, etc. Somebody in the Senate, in the House, raise their hand and go, I'm having a meeting. Anyone who wants to fight back, this is not public, come in, we're doing a meeting. Okay, hey, I don't need Hakeem Jeffries' permission. Jamie, you're going on MSNBC. Steve Cohen, you're going on Fox News. This guy, you're going there. You're going on Joe Rogan's podcast if you can get on. You're going on the other podcasts, etc. And okay, now we're all doing that, so we get our message out. That is number one thing we can do. Hakeem Jeffries just said earlier in that what we showed you that the Republicans won by getting their message out. So knucklehead, you might want to do the same. God, he's nowhere near a leader. Okay, then secondly, you have to agree on what the messaging is. What is a powerful message that you could deliver? So for example, we covered a story, and it might seem like a minor story to some, but it's actually excellent moral high ground to fight from last week, which was they're getting rid of the lead cleaning in the water. That means there's gonna be more lead poisoning. That means like it literally drops IQ points of kids. It increases crime, and cleaning up the lead out of the water has an over 90% approval rating. So if you all went out on the Sunday shows, you all went on the podcast, you all went on online media and said at the same time, they're poisoning our kids, and here's definitive proof. Why are they doing this? Then you're fighting on moral high ground, and you're doing damage. Republicans do this all the time with tiny little issues that nobody's even ever freaking heard of, right? This lead thing is an actual real important thing. And by the way, he's like, well, we're trying to work with them. Look, if you say, hey, there's some things I would like to work with them on, good, no problem. I say, for example, you want to cut the Pentagon? That's a Democratic priority. If the Republicans agree, it was. If the Republicans agree, great. Then by the way, what do? You look reasonable for working with them on an issue that's popular and was yours to begin with, right? So there's ways to agree on a small number of things and fight back on the other parts and do it right. But are they gonna figure out any of that? No, and that's why it's hard not to be despondent. The Democratic Party is so pathetic. There isn't one freaking leader that could do any of this messaging. Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.